2 diabetes is on the rise, mostly because of the obesity epidemic. Weight loss can reverse the diabetes and correct other health problems, and so many people are turning to the lap band procedure. Dr. Paul O'Brien with the American Institute of Gastric Banding is here with more information on this. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, brother.
Glad to have you here. How big is the problem with diabetes today?
It's really a huge problem now. We've nearly 24 million people in the United States who have diabetes. It's just been growing rapidly. There's about 1.5 million new cases every year. That works out at about 4,300 new cases of diabetes every day. It's just growing. And it's across the world, it's a problem. It's estimated there may be 300 million people across the world who have type 2 diabetes.
Help us understand the link between obesity and diabetes.
It's a very close link. As people's weight rises, their risk of diabetes rises. The best way of expressing it might be a study that was done here in the United States with nurses. They took 112,000 nurses and followed them over many years. And what they found, that compared with people who were relatively thin, the rate of rises very sharply. So by the time someone got to be severely obese, we talk about body mass index or BMI, once they had a BMI of 35, they had 93 times the risk of having diabetes compared with someone who's thin. And it just rose up steadily. So it's a direct link between the two.
So does obesity cause diabetes, or is it the reverse?
The chicken and the egg.
Yes.
And it's very much the obesity causing the diabetes. We understand now a lot about how this happens. People develop what we call insulin resistance. The liver, the muscles don't respond to insulin properly, and so the blood glucose rises, and that's what is diabetes. And then the pancreas makes more insulin, and for a while you cope, but eventually the pancreas gets tired, and then you become diabetic. So we have pre-diabetes, and then we have diabetes.
So it's critical that with that person who is obese to lose the weight to avoid possibly developing diabetes.
Absolutely. If you can avoid becoming obese, you'll avoid that risk of diabetes. And then if you have become overweight and have got diabetes, we then have to look at reducing your weight to get rid of the diabetes.
One of the things that you recommend is gastric bypass.
To gastric bypass?
I'm sorry, the lap band procedure. I apologize.
The lap band procedure has proved to be such an effective and gentle way of losing weight, and that's why we're very keen on it. We've used it now for 14 years in Australia, and we've used it in the United States for about 7 years. We've got a lot of information about it. I can show you how it works.
Please do.
Would that be helpful? Because this model shows the stomach, and that's the lap band sitting at the very top of the stomach. It's a ring of silicone with a balloon on the inside, and we can see the balloon here. And that balloon connects to a port, we call it, an access port. That's buried deep under the skin here, but it's not so deep that I can't access it. I can put a needle through the skin into that port. I inject some saline through the port, and that will make that balloon expand.
You've got a demonstration that you want
So I'll
to
just demonstrate that. So that shows the balloon on the inside, the ring of silicone, and if we think of my finger as being the stomach, and I inject some saline, you can see how that squeezes in. And as it squeezes, it takes away your appetite. That's how it works. It makes you less hungry. It makes you not want food, not look for food. And so you can follow the rules that we have regarding eating. And we've prepared a book which we call the Lap Band Solution, a partnership for weight loss, which gives all of those rules so people know what to do.
Curious to know more, Dr. O'Brien, about the trial that you performed.
Okay, we have to show that things truly do work, and the best way of showing things work is doing what we call randomized controlled trials. It's a very rigorous way of testing things in medicine. And we took a group of people who had type 2 diabetes, and we randomly allocate them into 2 groups, and the only difference between the 2 groups is that one group had the lap band and the other group did not have the lap band, but we treated them all as well as we could.
I see.
And the group who had the lap band, 3 out of 4 lost their diabetes. They went into remission,
Wow.
we call it.
Wow.
We don't say they're cured because that's a bit unfair. We know if they put on the weight again, they wouldn't. They'd get their diabetes back. But 3 out of 4 people, and when you've got 24 million people who've got type 2 diabetes, and here's a way where 3 out of 4 may not have it.
May not have it at all. Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. If you want to learn more about the lap band procedure, call 888-275-0966 or log on to AIGB.com.